How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about yet another racially charged scandal from my home state, the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, we all heard about the governor, Ralph Northam, and the Blackface and KKK kerfuffle talking about, oh, that's not me in the Blackface or the KKK robe in my yearbook picture, although that is my yearbook picture. We also heard about the Attorney General, Mark Herring, talking about, yeah, I put on blackface trying to be Curtis Blow when I was in college, high school, or whatever. And we also know about the black lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, and his two rape allegations, one when he was in college and one when he was out of college and working for the DNC at the DNC. Now we have yet another one, and it involves Pam Northam, Ralph Northam's wife. Now, I won't even get into it right now. What I'm going to do is go ahead and roll the clip. In this clip, you'll see exactly what she did, why it's offensive, who was offended, who she did it to. After we get done with that, I'll talk about what was said there. I'll add my 2 cents coming from the state of Virginia and also about other things that have happened in the state that Northam may have been against. Then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Breaking news. The governor's office is responding to 10 on Your Side tonight after we learned about a complaint involving the First Lady of Virginia.
Now, the complaint comes from a Senate page who attended a tour of the governor's mansion led by Pam Northam. That tour happened last Thursday and comes on the heels of a painful time in the Commonwealth.
10 on Your Side's Andy Fox has been working on this story all day.
So, Andy, let's start at the beginning with this.
Well, Tom and Anita, we received this letter written by a Senate page to Ms. Northam, basically calling her out for comments about cotton during the mansion tour. In the letter, the 8th grader, we won't identify, wrote to First Lady Pamela Northam, when in the cottage house, you were speaking about cotton and how the slaves had a picket. When you went to hand out the cotton, you handed it straight to another African-American page. You put the cotton in our hands and said, can you imagine being an enslaved person and having to pick this all day? She writes how this incident made them feel uncomfortable, and many of the pages did not want to go on the tour because of recent events, referring to this picture when the governor first admitted he was one of the people in this picture, then over 10 hours later had time to see the picture, and the next day said on further review he is not in the picture. About an hour ago, we got this statement from the First Lady, Pamela Northam, who wrote, the historic kitchen should be a feature of executive mansion tours, and I believe it does a disservice to Virginians to omit the stories of the enslaved people who lived and worked there. That's why I have been engaged in an effort to thoughtfully and honestly share this important story since I arrived in Richmond. I regret that I have upset anyone. In the note to the First Lady, the Senate page wrote, I will give you the benefit of the doubt because you gave the cotton to some other pages too. Through her spokesperson, the First Lady says she has been reaching out to the family but hasn't made contact. We have reached out to several members of the Black Caucus who refused comment or who did not return our calls. In the newsroom, Andy Fox, 10 on Your Side.
Okay, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, this story is so crazy, but you know what? Nothing surprises me anymore. Ever since the whole blackface situation and all this going on, I'm not surprised at anything. Pam Northam, why would you think that it's a good thing to take black kids on a cotton picking tour in the slave quarters? I'm reading an article. They're talking about, they went in the back to the cottage houses. Cottage houses? Don't you mean repurposed slave quarters in the back of the governor's mansion? You took them back there and handed them some cotton? What are you thinking about? And the case in question where the parent complained happened after the whole blackface kerfuffle. So it's not even about, oh, well, you know, we just got into the mansion and I wanted to just show some historical accuracy and give the full history of the executive kitchen. It ain't that. It's the fact that you thought that it would be okay to do it after the whole blackface situation. Wouldn't it be a good idea to just put a little bit of a pause on it for now? Just, you know, delay that, suspend it for a little bit until the whole blackface kerfuffle blows over. You were at the press conference and stopped your husband from doing the moonwalk. You would think that a person that has that much sense to not allow their husband to embarrass themselves on television will also have sense to not give out cotton to black kids like it's Halloween and you're giving them candy. Okay. Now, personally, I'm not really offended. I mean, cotton is cotton. You know, I have on a cotton shirt. It's fine. I'm not offended. I'm not impressed by my own shirt. I bought this shirt with my own money. It's, you know, it's fine. It's okay. It's cotton. And I remember that whole kerfuffle at Hobby Lobby where there was some raw cotton on a branch and it was like a display. It was like a flower. That's basically what it is. It's a flower. It was on display like with any other flower. People got offended by that. It was this whole big issue, went viral. So having seen that, having seen the issue with your husband and the whole blackface, like they're trying to get him to resign. We're going to be in Richmond Saturday, March 3rd, talking about this at the BLEXIT rally. Okay. And you know that's coming. So what kind of thought process did you have to say, this is fine, raw cotton to black kids, no problem? I mean, this is so silly. But you know what? I'm not even surprised. This is how Democrats operate. It's not even a matter of racism, in my opinion. It's a matter of thoughtlessness and also trying to cater to certain groups to get a particular vote. Okay. You're not really having the best interests of your constituency in mind. It's all about just trying to get votes and retain power. All right. Because if you thought about your constituency, you would think that this might be offensive to some people. Their parents might not like that. They might not like they checking in Lil Jamar's book bag and they got some raw cotton in there. And they say, hey, where you get this raw cotton from? Oh, the governor's wife gave it to me in the cottage houses in the back of the governor's mansion. Really? This is crazy. But, you know, like I said, I'm not offended. This is really just kind of hilarious. And to talk about Northam and the whole squad for a minute, they were asked about the Confederate statues all over the state, especially in Charlottesville, the statue Robert E. Lee, all this, that, and the third. They're talking about, oh, we should remove them from where they are, put them in the museum, which ain't nothing but hiding it. Talking about, oh, this could embolden some white supremacists to be like the way they are. That's kind of a dumb thing because they can go to a museum too. You just kind of want to hide it from them. You want to put it in public, but why not? Why not put it in public? You got your slave quarters in public at the governor's mansion. You got the cotton in public. Why not have the statues in public? I mean, they're taking the cotton home with them. It ain't like they can just see it. I mean, as far as I know, I think the cotton was like a little gift. It's like, here's a little bag of some raw cotton. Take that and imagine what it's like to be a slave picking that. I mean, this is really just crazy, contradictory, because they're all kind of like against the Confederate statues, or at the least they're wishy-washy about the Confederate statues. If it's about historical context and to not forget what happened, leave all the statues right where they are. Don't touch them. Don't say, oh, well, I'll leave it up to the localities and we could put some in the museum. Nah, leave them right where they are, because I want to know the true history. Okay. I want to have people ask questions about the statues. When somebody says, hey, is this statue racist? But did the Confederacy stand for slavery? You have to respond with the truth. The Confederacy was only around for 4 years at the very end of slavery. Who was around the 200 years before that? Let's get into those questions. Let's get into the whole question of, well, if the war was about slavery, then why did both sides have slaves throughout the entire war? Why did the North have slaves for longer than the South? Why did West Virginia secede during the war in 1863 with slaves into the Union from the Confederacy, but was allowed to keep their slaves? Why was there an anti-fugitive slave law in much of the North? Why did Union soldiers come from Ohio to West Virginia during the war and say, hey, we know y'all have slaves, but that's fine. Don't let them come here because we're going to bring them back to West Virginia? Why was that the case? Let's ask all these questions. Let's have the statues be in public so these questions could be asked. If you want to hide them away, put them in the museum, take them out of the books and stuff like that, then you're not able to have that historical context. So Pam and Ralph, if you want to have historical context, you should be for the Confederate statues. The raw cotton might not be a good idea. I'd rather have, and I think if you voted, this would be the answer, I'd rather have the Confederate statues not touched than for my child to get handed raw cotton during a field trip talking about, imagine what it's like to be a slave and picking that. In a slave house on top of that, in the slave quarters. So that's pretty much all I got. What say you? Do you think that Pam Northam is a racist, or is she just thoughtless, careless? I think it's more the latter personally, because why would you do this? Like, especially after the whole blackface thing, you got to think maybe handing some raw cotton to black kids in the former slave quarters is not really a good idea. Okay. So that's pretty much all I got. And whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.